All right, we're going to do a quick one here. Quick review, Nottingham Space 294. I've only worked on one other Nottingham turntable. I don't see these regularly. This was really just a, hey, I bought this at an auction. Can you check it out for me type deal. So it's a Nottingham Space 294. Big turntable. There is a video where I think it's 2 or 3 parts where someone actually sets one of these up, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details on these. They were made somewhere in the 2000s, early to mid 2000s. I can't find a lot of information about it. They sell all different types and models of turntables and have over the past probably 20 years. I'm not even sure if they're still in business. I'm literally just filming this after I get this after I got this set up for the customer. Interesting turntable, right? It's a turntable at its simplest. You have a motor's back here, and it sits by itself, right? So this is a platter, kind of a base everything sits on. The motor is separate, right? And it's an AC motor, so it's always on. You have a super heavy platter, right? You've got the platter and the tone arm are all a part of one assembly. This happens to have one of those Grado wooden cartridges on it. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, and it's just a simple turntable. To get it started, you have to manually push it. And to adjust the speed, you can move this belt in or out a little bit. This has an old belt on it. I think the owner will want to put a new one on it. But you know, if it's running too fast, you move the belt and the motor away from the platter. If it's running too slow, you move it a little bit towards the platter. You have to make sure you get that belt aligned with the bottom of this groove. That motor, actually you can adjust the height of the pulley to make sure it aligns to the bottom of the platter here. It's kind of friction fit in here, so you just kind of slide the middle of the motor up and down. I know I'm not really showing that to you very well. Let me get this over here. Excuse the mess on my bench. So this whole piece moves up and down, right? So you can make sure that this pulley here, the bottom part of the pulley, is aligned to the bottom part of the platter. So Nottingham Spacedeck, expensive turntables, at least they can be. When I heard I was going to be, or someone had requested that I work on one of these, the first thing I always do is go out to eBay and see what they're worth. People will ask a couple grand for these. It looks like without the tone arm, they'll sell for as little as $500. With a tone arm, I couldn't find a sale, but I'm thinking somewhere in the $1,500 range on these. It's an interesting deck. It's definitely not. It's not my kind of turntable, right? I like vintage stuff. This is definitely modern. It's cool. The isolation on this thing is fantastic. I was showing the owner. I was like banging this with my finger, just tapping it, and absolutely no vibration came through at all. So vibration isolation is outstanding on this. That's a phenomenal cartridge. That's one of the lower end. I know they have some really expensive ones. That's not like one of the $10,000 carts. It's probably a $400 cartridge on there. But this is just one of those basic kind of like lube the platter, get everything aligned, set the tone arm type of operations on this. What I did warn the owner about though was, okay, this is not a plug and play turntable. So, this is going to be kind of a different video. So like, who is this turntable for? This is not for the person that's just getting into vinyl, unless you really like tinkering with things, right? A turntable like this is going to require you to understand how turntables work, how maintenance is, because you're going to have to perform your own maintenance. You're going to have to tweak this. You're going to have to get it set up. You're going to have to get it set up for your listening space, right? You're gonna have to do a lot of things. You're going to have to interact with the mechanicals, if I can call them that, mechanicals of the turntable. This isn't just you pull it out of the box and you plug it in. This requires care and feeding, right? It requires routine maintenance. It requires very deliberate, right? Deliberate thought in terms of its use and where you're going to put it and how you're going to put it and how you're going to listen to it. And, you can't be scared of doing some maintenance tasks on this because it's going to require it. So, that's just this type of turntable. But I thought it was cool, and I thought I would at least shoot, kind of a short video on it. Would I ever buy one of these? I don't know. It's number one, I don't have the place. I mean, this thing is gigantic. This is larger than the 1980 receiver that I had on my bench. I mean, it's just big. Hopefully I found the dimensions for it and I flashed it up on the intro slide for the video, but it's gigantic. This platter is super heavy. I mean, quality, it's definitely a quality turntable and it sounds amazing, but again, I'm kind of more into vintage stuff. So anyway, could this be for you? It could be for you if you really want to hardcore, like, get into not listening to vinyl, but like, you know, the physics behind how a turntable works. And I may be overstating that. Maybe you don't have to be that nerdy about it. But again, this is just not a turntable that you pull out of the box, plug it in, and you don't care about it. You've got to keep the dust out. You've got to, I mean, it's going to require, right, someone who is willing to interact with the turntable in that manner. You're not just a consumer here, right? You're not just going to consume the turntable. You're not just going to put a record on and not think about it. You've got to be very, very deliberate with maintenance on this. So anyway, I know that was a real short one, but you know, this just isn't kind of my thing. So, but it might interest someone. So I figured I would just throw a video out here. Hopefully I was able to find some additional Nottingham information and throw up some prices. Maybe I don't know if they have a modern catalog or anything like that. Again, I didn't do any research for this. I just kind of went off of what I've been looking up in the past few days, anticipating working on this. So apologize for the short video. I don't think there's anything else I need to add on this one other than, oh, and if you do get one of these, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. So this motor, similar to an AR, XA, or XB, is on all the time. Now with this, I mentioned that you have to push it to get it started. That means you can run this motor forwards or backwards. It's going to run either way, but you always have to push it. You always have to stop it. And then because there is no external power switch, you know, a turntable like this, you have to run it through, audiophiles will say you probably need some kind of power conditioner, and they would probably tell you to just leave it on all the time. You know, I don't like leaving things running, but that's just me. But you know, definitely at a minimum, you may want to strongly consider running this through some type of outlet strip, just to be sure that the motor is not running all the time. I don't think there are any stories of these bursting into flames or anything like that. But you just have to understand that motor will run all the time. It's running right now, right? It's vibrating right now. And again, all I need to do is get it pushed, give it a little bit of a push, hopefully in the right direction, and it will eventually, settle in at the right speed, and then you can listen to it. So my battery's almost dead. I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. So as always, if you like what you see, like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.